have more breaking news. I almost uploaded today's recap without including this. That's how breaking this is. It's been confirmed that the ABS system, the automatic ball strike system, the electronic strike zone, robot umpires, whatever you want to call them, it has been approved for 2026. I'm talking spring training, the regular season, and the playoffs. Robot umpires are coming to a TV near you pretty soon, so get your popcorn ready. What's up, everyone? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB recap. You can tell that it's the final week of the MLB regular season because Cardinals manager Oli Marmol is looking like George Brett after the pine tar incident. He is going off on the umpiring crew because they missed a clear call. The Cardinals cannot afford to lose this game. Ronald and the Atlanta Braves might have been my wild card pick if they had another season or two because they legitimately might not lose for the rest of the season. This play in the Brewers and Padres game was quite literally decided by a nanometer. And at the end of today's recap, I'm going to give a full-blown update on the final playoff tracker and the stat leaders across the game. So it's a big recap today. If you're brand new here, we recap every baseball game and every big story in the game of baseball almost every single day. So if you never want to miss out, leave a like and hit that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to save yourself $20 off all of your tickets using code Fuzzy on SeatGeek. And if you like fantasy sports, do not forget to download Underdog Fantasy with code Fuzzy to unlock a bunch of free stuff and promos. And one more thing super quick, I'm going to be live later on Playback with Cougs46 watching my Guard Dogs take on Tarek Skubal and the Tigers in Cleveland in a battle for their lives. It is literally season on the line. Don't miss it. I'll see you guys on Playback. We have a big update to talk about before we get into the games from yesterday. They're saying that Anthony Santander wrapped up a rehab assignment on the 21st, so with a day off in between, today's the 23rd. He should be back in the lineup today. The Blue Jays might finally be getting a 100% healthy Anthony Santander. Remember back in May, he had a shoulder, hip, and then a shoulder injury again. But before that, the 10 games right before he got hurt, he had 3 home runs and 8 RBIs over those 10. It's not very often we see playoff teams get a 40-plus home run bat back at this time of the year. If he can find that swing path again and they get Bo Bichette right, man, the Blue Jays with Shane Bieber in that rotation are going to be a wagon. Speaking of playoff teams, we know that the Brewers have clinched already, but if the Padres win, they'll also secure a spot at least in the wild card, but they also want the division. What in the world? Freddie Peralta, he lost his footing, and it is already 1-0 on a balk. Padres starter Nick Pivetta has not been himself lately. He allowed 3 earned runs his last start with 7 base hits, and in this one, another 3 earned runs with 5 walks. That is never going to cut it. Caleb Durbin and Christian Yelich, they drove in the first few, and Collins, he just got his foot ahead of the tag. They went to replay, and again, he got his little cleat in there right before the tag at third base. Freddie Peralta did make some history in this game. He has his third 200 strikeout season. He's just behind Juan Marichal and Pedro Martinez for the most by a Dominican-born player, Jose. Oh my God. Jose Iglesias ripped his second of the season. He's actually been objectively awful in the box this year. Luis, he has an 11-game hitting streak, and that RBI just tied the game. Jeremiah Estrada, he ended a jam in the 8th inning, and Bryce Johnson, he dove in the final inning to keep runners off, but it's not the final inning because we have free baseball. We needed extras. Jose Iglesias, wow, that was a nice stop, even the 360 spin throw and stuff like that, but he kind of lofted it in. It is late. Gavin Sheets, he matched Sal Frelick with an RBI fielder's choice of his own. Bryce Johnson, this is his chance. He can win it with the base hit, and he rolled over. So we go to the 11th inning. The bases are loaded for Jackson Chourio because the Padres intentionally walked Christian Yelich. Jackson, he's 0 for 5, which means that he's due. Okay, Bradley Rodriguez, he dotted 100 miles an hour, and a double play kept it tied. Freddie Fermin, he just walked it off. The Padres have won 3 games in a row. They clinch a spot in the playoffs. This is the second time in Padres history they've made the postseason in back-to-back years. Now let's go check in on Manny Machado and see how he's feeling after the game.
Yes, sexy. Yes, sexy. Yes, sexy.
So again, the Padres are 100% going in at the very least as a wild card team. They're going to try for the division. But back to the wild card, both the Cardinals and the Giants are battling for their lives. If the Giants win, they'll stay within 2.5 games. If they lose, they'll be tied with the Cardinals at 3.5 games back with 5 games left in the season. As you can see, Elliot Ramos, he wants an orange October, his first of 3 RBIs on the day. Burleson and, wait, actually, before we talk about them wanting a red October, St. Louis, they ran into 2 outs on 1 play. Sajacy thought that it was a foul ball, and it was. Jordan Walker is now out at second base. It hit his foot. Oli Marmol, the manager of the Cardinals, has every reason to be fired up because that was, in fact, a foul ball. It hit Jordan Walker's foot, and Marmol, he was saying, it's an effing foul ball. Get the out of here. Like, he has every right to go full-blown George Brett on that play. There's the Burleson and Fermin RBIs. Fermin's was a double, his second double of the game. It is 2-1 Cardinals. 2-2 Patrick Bailey. I've said his name a ton this month. I'm hoping that he gets a spotlight card of some sort in MLB The Show 25. Ramos, here's RBIs 2 and 3, but then he got back to pick at first for the third out. And it almost seemed like that flipped the momentum, because who knows what could have happened if he was still on base and the Giants had more opportunities to drive in runs. Ivan Herrera hammered out another home run. What a vicious swing. He has 7 home runs this month. Schmidt, oh no, he committed an error. It is 5-4. Jordan Walker, there's an RBI fielder's choice, and man, that error really cost the Giants a big moment, because Rafi, he could have tied it. Like, imagine if Rafael Devers just tied it. Instead, it's still a 1-run deficit. The Cardinals bullpen put the Giants in a blender. This was the only base hit allowed by the Cardinals bullpen, and Lars Nootbaar tossed a C to second base to delete that base hit. Jojo Romero, he converted his 8th save of the year. He almost has a sub-2 ERA. He's been disgusting. So the Cardinals and the Giants, they're tied at 3.5 games back of that final wild card spot. If there was like 1 or even 2 more weeks left in the season, I might have pushed all of my chips into the center of the table to bet on the Braves to take the final wildcard spot, not anyone else. Nazem Nunez, he's back at it. He had 0 total home runs his first 74 games in the big leagues. All of a sudden, he has 4 this month. Ronald, he is not in the leadoff spot anymore, and honestly, I kind of like Ronald in the 3-hole. Kind of got me feeling nicey. Michael Harris, he just collected a lefty-lefty RBI double, and that started a big rally for the rest of the game. Drake Baldwin, this is a 2-run single. Ozuna, Harris, and Ronald, they tacked on even more. I think it was like 7-1 after that Ronald bases loaded walk. Now, we do have an awful health update. Ozzy, he's up with the bases loaded, but he just had like an awkward take. He almost was afraid to swing at the baseball. Well, it turns out he has a hamate bone issue, so he's going to be missing the remainder of the season, and that sucks because he was on pace to play all 162, and he had 45 RBIs with 21 extra base hits his last 62 games, so he was unreal. Hoping that he heals up pretty quick. Dylan Cruz, he's batting .285 with 3 home runs and 3 stolen bases his last 15. He is slowly but surely coming around. Look at Jacob Young, back-to-back recaps with circus catches. Now, they hit the palm of his hand, and then he caught it with the other hand. He's just all over the place lately. The Braves ran it up to double digits as Harris stole a bag that got him in scoring position for Jerkson Profar. Allen drove in the 11th run. The Braves have won 9 in a row. Yes, they've been eliminated, but again, they've won 9 in a row, and heading into 2026, if they can get Schwellenbach, Grant Holmes, Sean Murphy all healthy, have a full offseason for Chris Sale and Spencer Strider to do the same thing, and for Hurston Waldrop to keep on improving, honestly, the 2026 Braves are going to be they're going to be unfair. One more conversation about the Braves and one of their players, Drake Baldwin, the rookie. Is he going to win the NL Rookie of the Year? It's between him and Cade Horton, in my opinion, because Cade, he's allowed 6 runs total since mid-July. He's really saved that Cubs rotation with Matthew Boyd stinking it up. But Drake Baldwin has made up ground in the last week. He has 14 RBIs with a 1,300 OPS his last 8 games, and he's been a brick wall blocker as a defensive catcher. So I want you guys in the comments down below, before we talk about the playoff tracker, who is going to win NL Rookie of the Year, and then also let me know the rest of your award predictions. I'm talking about AL Rookie of the Year, MVP, Cy Youngs. Let me know down there. Now let's give a full-blown update on the playoff tracker so we know that there's a couple teams that have clinched already. The Brewers, Phillies, Cubs, Dodgers, Jays, and Padres, they have nothing to worry about. They have punched their ticket. They're in the playoffs already. What about some teams that can clinch today on Tuesday? If the Yankees beat the White Sox, they'll officially be in. If the Mariners, along with a Yankees win, if they beat the Rockies, they'll also clinch their spot. Some other possibilities, the Blue Jays and the Phillies can clinch a first-round bye and home field advantage if a couple things happen. So the Blue Jays have to win. The Marlins and the Dodgers have to lose today for the Phillies to do that. The Dodgers, Blue Jays, Mariners, they can clinch their division as soon as tomorrow. The Brewers, they can clinch the #1 spot in the NL also tomorrow. And then the Cubs, they can clinch the 4 seed in the NL as early as tomorrow. So a lot going on. And if you guys want to see percentage points of how the rest of the season is shaping up in terms of who the odds makers thinks are going to make the playoffs or not. So the Tigers are at 83% right now to take the division, or at least to make the playoffs. We have 62% odds saying that the Astros are going to take the wild card. So they're basically saying that the Tigers are going to take the division and that the Astros, because they have an easier schedule, they have the A's and the Angels as their final 2 series. The Guardians have the Tigers and the Rangers, so a more competitive final 2 series. So they're saying because of that, the Tigers are going to make it, and then the Astros, they'll be the final wild card team. But again, if there's a tiebreaker between the Guardians and the Astros, Cleveland would move on because they're 4-2 against the Astros this year. Remember, it's no longer a 1-game play for your life wild card 1v1. It is just simply who had the better head-to-head matchup in the season. It's kind of boring, but that's what they wanted to do. And then in the National League side of things, we can see that the Reds have a 66% chance of making the playoffs because, again, they have the tiebreaker versus the Mets. The Mets right now have a 25% chance of making the playoffs according to the odds makers. Wow. And finally, let's take a look at the stat leaders across the game of baseball. Aaron Judge is leading the world with a .326 batting average. I think he's about to become, if he hits another home run, he's about to become one of the handful of players ever to lead the league in batting average and hit 50 home runs in the same season. Max Fried of the Yankees is the only guy in baseball with 18 Ws. Then you have Crochet, Rodon, and Peralta all with 17 apiece. Home runs, we know that is Cal Raleigh with Schwarber at 53. He's tied with Ohtani. Judge, he's at 49, so one away from 50. Paul Skeens, he has the best ERA in all of baseball with a 2.03 ERA. Then it goes Skubal, Brown, Yamamoto, and Christopher Sanchez. RBIs, Schwarber has 129, 7 more than Pete Alonso. Saves, Carlos Estevez, he is 1 ahead of Robert Suarez. Estevez has 41, Suarez has 40. Base hits, Bo Bichette and Trey Turner still lead everyone despite the fact they haven't played in over a week and a half, 2 weeks. Strikeouts, it is Garrett Crochet right now with 249. He is 16 ahead of Tarek Skubal, who again is pitching later today against the Guardians in Cleveland. The stolen base crown right now belongs to Jose Caballero with 48. You have Chandler Simpson with 43, again the rookie speedster, and Jose Ramirez. Look at him with back-to-back 40 stolen base seasons. And there we have it, another recap in the books. I know there weren't too many games from yesterday, but it was still an important recap nonetheless. And remember, today is going to be absolute anarchy in the game of baseball, so come watch live on playback with me and Cougs46. I'll see you guys there. It's going to be a blast. I hope.